Welcome into the 7th. I'm going to guess. Throwing that line out into the deep end, hoping for a big old whaler on the end of that one. This is
6th. I'm not going to lie.
Trevor?
This is the 7th episode.
Oh, come on, Trevor. Hit me with it.
I don't have it set up.
Caleb didn't hear the soundboard.
Do you have a soundboard, Trevor?
Yeah, I might be able to get it going here real quick.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, while Trevor sees if he can get the soundboard up and running,
I hope that was planned.
well, I guess that answers that question.
And we're live.
It's up and running. This is the Chat Pack Podcast where we talk about this, that, and the other thing. Another shorthanded team tonight. We'll get the full team here together.
But again, the A team.
It's also like prime summer right now, and everyone's in the midst of doing like 40 different things every single day. So, because again, Ben still hasn't moved up here yet. I don't know when he's moving up here, but eventually he will. But this is the Chat Pack Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Paul Holden, and I am joined by Caleb Cole. Caleb, hello.
Hello.
Sounding very good in his professional office.
Hello.
A location on the Ohio University campus.
Hey, don't say which room. I don't think I'm allowed to be here.
I think that's why I just said a location on the Ohio University.
Shh, don't say that. The Ohio State University, he meant.
There we
Ohio
go.
State University, the Ohio State University.
The home of the Chumps. And joined by Trevor Heim as well, the man behind the glass. Trevor, how's it going?
It is going pretty well.
How many Moscow mules deep are you today?
So I actually have not had any today, which is kind of a bummer because it is Friday night. But I was playing this like pretty dope Spider-Man VR game, and I feel like if I had been drinking, I would have gotten extremely nauseous.
Okay,
Ooh.
that makes sense. Smart call.
How does the nausea really go for you on those? Is it pretty real?
So it's not too bad unless, like, what makes me nauseous is if the game moves you without, like, you moving, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, like, I have this racing game that I can play in VR, and, like, I hook up the steering wheel and everything like that, and when you're in the car, you can, like, look around the cockpit and you can drive and stuff, and it's pretty fine because, like, you're sitting in a car, more or less. But if you're like racing around the track and someone bumps you and you spin out off the track, oh my goodness. Instant vomit.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
You should do beer bongs and then play that game.
There you go.
It would test the effects of drunk driving, I suppose.
We'll dive more into some video game stuff here in a second because I want to talk about something. But first, Trevor, what the heck is your girlfriend doing in Alaska, man? And how the hell did you miss out on that experience?
And how do we get to go next time?
So, I mean, we're going to have our own Alaska trip with blackjack and hookers.
Paul. Whoa. Okay.
That's a Futurama
I got
reference.
what you're saying. I got what, yep.
No, anyways.
Right over my head.
So they are out in Alaska because it is a big bucket list trip for her grandma, and they basically took a big girls trip out there. So it's her and her mom and her sister and her grandma, and
That's badass.
yeah. So they're out there. She texted me just a little bit ago and said, "I got to kayak around glaciers today," and I was like, "Oh, cool."
Gee, that sounds great, dear. Thanks for letting me know.
No, it's awesome though.
That's my Trevor impression.
You know what though? I'm happy that she's off exploring with her family because it looks like an awesome time. But can I vent about something here for a second?
Oh, Trevor, I would love nothing more. Nothing gets me more. That just sounded
more.
What?
Paul?
I was trying to think of Caleb.
Semi-family friendly. We use some curse words, but
I was trying to think of a phrase that wasn't going to sound suggestive in a way, and it failed to come to me.
It sounded
in time.
like you're going to say horny. I'm just putting it out there.
So now, no matter where we go, it's the creep factor is still high. So I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to stop
steel
talking.
trap over there.
I'm just going to stop
and
talking.
You let Trevor vent. Go. Where his friends were talking to an audience. That's what we're here for.
So, well, now I'm a little concerned. I'm going to get Paul like too excited with this story, but
arousal's always a concern.
Ugh, God, I just dug myself into a bad hole.
Oh, it was going there. All right. Anyways, now if I could vent for a second. So, as you know, Amanda's out of town. She's in Alaska, so that leaves
boys trip.
That leaves me to care for the doggos here, just all by myself, which it's 2 against 1 in the house.
Hey, you did that to yourself.
Yeah, not too bad though. Like, dogs are sweet, but
man,
the other morning. So let's see. I think it was Thursday morning. Today's Friday. Whatever. The other morning, like you know how like everyone kind of knows the sound of like someone vomiting.
Yeah.
Like
okay, yeah.
There's that noise. So I wake out of a dead sleep at like 4 a.m. to that sound. And, I just bolt up and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I look over and Faye is like mid vomit onto Copper. So Copper's curled up on his bed and she just right onto his back. Like, and he looked so sad. Like he had just done something terrible.
He's such a sad looking dog too.
No.
Yeah. So at this point,
if there's a visual element to this is where you pop up those puppy dog eyes because he just looks so intimidated all of the time.
He is like ridiculously like he's just sad looking. he's the best dog.
Trevor, is it okay if I go to the bathroom? Please.
So Copper's in that mode. He just got vomited on. I am like fully awake now. Jump out of my bed 4 a.m. and Faye is like heaving again, like she's gonna vomit again. So I'm like, come on, get in the kitchen. Come on, let's go. And she won't come with me. And so I like drag her out into the kitchen where there's tile, and like get her off the carpet. And drag her out in the kitchen, turn and look out into the kitchen, and the whole kitchen is just diarrhea and vomit, just like all around the whole kitchen. And like, I was just in shock. Like, I didn't even know what to do. And then she like, while I was dragging her, vomited like again, and it was just like water and grass. Like, I don't know what she ate, but I assume that, like, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper, so I assume that, like, she was probably trying to wake me up for a while because our back door is connected to our kitchen, and so she'll go to the back door and, like, whine and hit
Trevor,
the door,
I just want to say that heavy sleeper's quite the understatement. You once slept through a fire alarm at our dorm.
That's right. Oh, my God, I remember that story.
I came back and was like, how'd you get back in here so quick? And you're like, what? And I was like, did you sleep through the fire alarm? And he was like, what are you talking about?
There was a fire alarm?
It was a fire alarm. You could have died.
I would not have been the wiser. I would have slept right through the death. No.
I wish I would have taken the opportunity back then to just like shake you awake and be like, we gotta go! There's a fire!
Dude,
what?
Trevor would have bolted out of bed and then just fell directly on his face. Like, on those slippery tiles, it would have been game over. It would have been hilarious, but that would have been a brutal prank. Or he would have just shot up and racked his head on the top bunk.
Dude, man, I remember I did fall and just smashed my face on that tile. Remember when I had strep throat, Trevor? I, like, got out of the bed and I was like, oh no, I'm really woozy. And then I fell over.
Oh.
And just hit the tile. Oop. There's Copper. There's the whiny dog right now.
Oh my goodness.
Silence them.
To the scene of the crime.
Does that mean she's shitting or barfing?
There's probably just some people that are outside.
I interrupted you.
So what was what did you have to take her to the vet? What was?
No, I've just been watching her and she's been fine. Like, she's been keeping food down and like pretty much acting normal. So I don't think it's like oh my gosh.
What are they up to?
Bark. Usually it's my dog barking, but I'm in a unnamed office on the Ohio State University campus, so the dogs can't get me from here.
Honestly,
they launch like some major manhunt into where you're at, Caleb, for some reason. The right person is listening to this, and they're like, "We gotta know. Let's go
catch
time."
Me. They'll never catch me.
They won't catch him because this will be released several days after he's been there.
And I'm a very elusive boy.
Slippery.
Are you?
Extremely.
Okay. Well,
extremely. That meant to be extremely
new to me. Extremely.
Speaking
Trevor,
of
how's your
steamy,
week been, man?
Well, other than
besides the poop.
Yeah,
other than the poop fest.
Yeah. Other than that, pretty good. It's been all right.
How's work?
Work is pretty good.
Real compelling podcast content going on here.
Yeah. Is this so? Are we doing like an impersonation of when you see somebody in the street that you like kind of know, but you don't really like, and you're like, "Oh, how have you been?
Dude,
how's
I'm
work?
so excited to see you. What are you doing these days?"
Oh, the hey dude. That's when you don't remember their name. You're like, "Hey dude."
Caleb, guess how often I rely on that one?
Probably a lot, considering that you can't comprehend names or faces very well. You can't store it. You don't really have much of a memory for that. You got a great memory for locations in Fallout, but
fair. But here's the deal with the thing with people is in my brain immediately people get put into certain categories, and it's am I ever going to interact?
I get it.
What? No, anyway. Yeah, it's am I going to ever interact with this person ever again? And if they go to that category, their name, not important to think about. If I am, then that's when I start remembering it. A lot of times people get thrown into the not going to interact with and then surprise interaction. But that also comes with living in a small town.
Paul, let's be honest.
See, that's why I just try to remember everyone's name. You lived in Athens for like 6 years. You kind of have to remember people's names.
That's fair. I shall take my punishment.
Okay, Paul, we're not getting kinky. I know you're excited. Calm it down with the references, all right?
You went there. You took it there.
You know, Paul, you never asked me how my week was.
How's your week, Caleb?
Terrible. I forgot my car keys in your car, which I don't know why I even brought them. It was a bad decision.
Here's the thing, Caleb. How important to you are these keys?
So they've got my car keys, my house keys, my bike lock key. So I have to, anytime I go anywhere, I have to bring my bike inside because I've had my bike stolen and I'm not doing it again. And also, can't really drive my car without that. I don't have a spare key. I don't know why. I should have it. I've had that car for 3 years.
You don't have any spare keys to your car?
I don't have a spare key. It's
and
$80.
You lose your keys every 3 days.
That's not true. Since I've gotten a carabiner, I'd say it's once a week at the very most.
Okay, still. So my follow-up question, Caleb, is how important are these keys to you?
Paul, you should have sent them out today. You need to send them out tomorrow.
Now,
it's required. No, there's no negotiation.
So wait, let me clarify here a little bit.
I have the power. If I have all the Dragon Balls, so to speak.
The power.
So,
to clarify here, I live in Athens, Ohio, which is 7 hours from where Paul lives in Chicago, Illinois. And when Paul was leaving my house in Athens, Ohio, I was going to get dropped off in Columbus, Ohio, which is an hour away. And I, for some reason, brought my car keys, left them in the car that Paul was driving to Chicago, Illinois.
Let me get a quick vent set, Trevor. If I may vent, can I approach the floor? I'd also like to get a quick vent in.
Venting just really it just makes me Paul. You know what? Just go, Paul. Just vent.
It just really gets us so excited, Paul.
Let me tell you something, Trevor. I have, and a lot of the times also my friends do, when we're going to leave somewhere, have a habit of leaving well behind schedule. And I had a plan, a formulated plan.
Unrealistic plan.
No, not unrealistic at all, actually. Before you jump in there to try and save your butt. I mentioned to Caleb, originally, not going to go back to Caleb's house at all. Leave straight to Chicago from the station. Caleb brought up a couple of good points in the morning. Hey, you got to bring Jeff his paycheck, come back, and I might want to. And then once I told him that Ben is up in Columbus and potentially would climb, Caleb was thinking, I might want to climb.
I'll go to Columbus to the climbing gym.
So I tell Caleb, before I leave, I'll be back at 2-ish. An hour earlier than I was getting home the previous 2 days from work, as I was in Athens this past week and worked at the station for a couple of days. That's what I did this week. And so I thought Caleb paid attention to that statement. Surprisingly, he did not. I then sent a fully detailed text message to Ben Colvin and Caleb, because now we brought Ben in this. Ben was dependent on Caleb and Caleb remembering plans efficiently as well.
Ben and I had a great time, I'd like to say.
Well, I'm sure you did, because Ben got to go, he got to climb anyway. And he got a bunch of his stuff taken to Chicago. Helped his butt out, tell you that. Wasn't really that big of a pain. Anyway, I told Caleb, I'm coming home from work. It's a little after 2. I got a tank full of gas, bought some snacks, bought a soda, got my gum. Copper, I know you're excited, man, but I'll get there.
Venting just makes him so aroused.
And I get back to Caleb's house, and lo and behold, Trevor, what do I find? What do you think I'm greeted with?
I'm going to assume Caleb was either asleep or on the couch.
It was a locked door with no one home.
It was a locked door with luckily someone home. Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Jeff was home.
Was able to let me in. And I'm a little confused, as I had sent Caleb a detailed message with what I was trying to accomplish in the afternoon. And
which I ignored.
His response, he completely ignored, because when I asked him where he was, he said, I'm at Dave's house working on music. And I said, why are you at Dave's house working on music when I'm trying to leave here soon? And he said, oh, I thought I had more time. I thought you weren't coming home till 3.
I figured you'd be late. You're always late.
I was specifically trying to leave. I made everything possible, and I texted you that I was leaving. I don't think I texted you I was leaving.
Yeah, your track record's not exactly the best, though, Paul.
Fair, but in this situation, when I've told you multiple times that I'm leaving at a certain time, and it's at a situation I was in complete control of when I left the station, you didn't have to. He totally dropped the ball. So then we had to backtrack after Caleb got back from Dave's, and then we had to backtrack, go to get Ben's stuff, and then get there. Hour and a half behind schedule.
How
Trevor.
long is this vent session going to work?
Behind schedule.
Gosh. It just keeps going.
So wait a second. My only question is, so to clarify, so now Caleb's keys are currently in Chicago, correct?
Yeah, Caleb left his keys in my car, and now I hold the power.
So my only question with this whole situation is, what was the plan if you were taking Caleb to Columbus? Then how was Caleb getting back home from Columbus?
Ben was going to drive back.
Ben doesn't live in Columbus anymore. He lives in Athens.
Okay.
This has really become a podcast of logistics.
Yeah, exactly. Because you failed at reading comprehension.
I think the people enjoy hearing us try to figure out our lives.
Anyway, that's my vent session. Caleb, of course, I will attempt to get your keys back to you as soon as possible. But,
I need to figure out something to vent about. I don't really have that much.
Well, you had a great house guest this week. You made good soup. The soup was good.
I did, I'll vent about that. Excuse you? Goodness. Are you kidding me?
I think that's
You're a vile human being.
Paul's just tickled.
It's about 1,005 degrees in my room right now.
Don't you have air conditioning?
Yes, but I don't know. I'm running. It's definitely cooler in here, but I got the fan off. I got the door shut. I'm just running hot right now. Running full steam.
So this is all an explanation of the burp, right? Could you tie it back in how that made it appropriate?
Brain just wasn't firing on all those cylinders. I was distracted by the heat. Just let it slip and look at this.
I think your brain only has half a cylinder, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, baby, half a cylinder's on half a cylinder. You know what I mean? That's what John Travolta said one time about his acting performances.
That sounds right.
Half cylinder is half a cylinder.
I think that's a real thing.
Johnny T.
Take that to the bank, Caleb. Put that on your gravestone.
Cash that
What?
bank check.
Anyway, where were we going before this? Oh, Kelsey and
You're
the soup.
firing on half a cylinder.
Well,
you're burping.
She just derailing conversations about soup.
Soup.
Yeah,
Groovy
I made
Soup
a
every
soup.
Monday night. It's Taste of Tunes from across Ohio. You can check it out.
Paul, stop plugging your radio show on this little side podcast of yours. We know that if it was really something you cared about, you wouldn't burp on air. We understand that. We've gotten that far.
I'm just being my raw, unfiltered self, Caleb. I'm giving this podcast audience a glimpse at what it is and what it means to be Paul Francis Holden. Okay?
He's being
I
raw
got the
and
camera
unfiltered.
in my face. I'm just, constant pressure. I'm just doing me. I'm just being me, going for me, hanging with me, all that stuff. I'm on it, man. You know what I mean? You just gotta.
Well, I mean, you're hanging with us.
Well, that's true. I got another one boiling in there, but I'm gonna save that one for later, Caleb. What do you think of that, huh?
So is there like a topic or something?
I can see Caleb's eyes were closed for the entirety of
Oh my
me
gosh,
talking
how did
right
you
there.
know that? They were serious. They were closed and my hand was over my head.
100%.
He's
Holy
working on a
hell.
migraine.
Am I that predictable?
You just you pick up on people's patterns when they start realizing that I'm just in one of those modes where who knows what's gonna go.
You just kept going and going, and
Exactly.
it felt like it was never gonna stop. Still feels like you'll never stop. Truly.
Hey, Caleb, can't stop, won't stop. Put that on your tombstone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh! Put that on your plate.
So here's a
Kelsey
topic
and the
for
soup.
you.
Well, hold on. We haven't gotten Kelsey
I don't
and the
want to
soup
talk
yet.
about the soup.
I want to know about the soup.
I'd made a couple different types of soup. I made a chicken noodle, but I didn't put the noodles in. I just put the celery and the carrots and the chicken and whatever. And then I made a white chicken chili the following week. And neither of them Kelsey really ate. And after I made the second one and it sat around for a while, I was like, so you're not really enjoying these soups? And she was like, well, I mean, I like the ones when you try to make them. I'm like, what does that mean? And she was like, you didn't really try on these ones. I was like, okay, immediately offended. And so I tried my darndest on this last soup, and that's why it turned out so well. I made homemade noodles. I didn't go for the box stuff.
Wow.
I put some potatoes and kale. I did a 36-hour simmer on the bones to get a real beefy, greasy kind of soup
You
broth.
do need to strain that broth a little bit more, a couple bones in there, but that would be my only. Honestly, that'd be the only thing I would say to change about that.
Really,
recipe.
I thought I had found all the bones.
Nah, because I got a couple. They were very small bones because I just got a couple of really crunchy, like gritty bites. And I was like, "What are those?" And I was like, and it was like, "Oh, it's probably just like those
Paul,
little."
to be honest, though, that could have fallen out of your beard into your soup and then right down the trail.
You can't talk about scraggly beards, Caleb, when you look that like you.
Well, it's not about scraggly beards. It's about the lack of cleanliness that comes
Caleb,
with it.
you get stuff in your beard all the time. It's
And then
literally
I wash it out.
When your beard is as long as ours are, it gets in there. And of course
as
I
long as
wash
mine.
it out.
Yours
What
is
do you
like
what do you
half
what are you
the
thinking
length.
about this? You know what I don't like, Caleb? You know what
are we gonna vent again,
don't
Paul?
Like, yeah, Trevor, permission to vent again.
Denied.
Do I have the floor?
Denied.
Proceed.
Ugh.
I yield the balance of
How
my time
dare
to the
you sit on
elective.
your high horse like you're some that I'm always the messy, sloppy one. You're secretly a huge slob. You just don't let people you're just not as vocal about it as me, and you haven't been a slob your whole life because you got stuff in your beard, your feet are always dirty, you got stains on your shirts, your hands are always dirty, and you just sit over there on your porcelain throne just thinking that you're just fucking Mr. Clean over there.
Do you think I'm pooping right now?
I just think you're always sitting on porcelain throne of lies.
That'd be a really impressive thing about me if I was like, everywhere I go, I sit on porcelain. And like, I always had like a little like cutout of it. Yeah, the toilet seat. And I just always sit down on it. And then like the one time there, you're like, Caleb, you're not sitting on porcelain. Then I pull down my pants and it's an attachment to my underwear. I'm like, always on porcelain.
Your porcelain lined underwear?
Porcelain line, baby.
But vent over.
Porcelain lined
I just had to get that. I had to get that out real fast.
You know, speaking of porcelain thrones, I don't know where I was going with that.
Oh, okay. I actually thought you had something.
Paul, what do you wash your beard with?
Well, he doesn't wash it.
He was pretty vocal that he washes it.
He used to use beard butter. I remember that.
I still have beard butter.
Do you still have it? That explains how much you've used it.
Yeah, I mean,
that was like 3 years ago that you got that.
It's still good though. It still works.
I bet it's just regular butter, and you thought it was beard butter, and you're like, this looks nice.
It was given to me as a gift. So, suck it, Caleb. That's all I got for So suck it, okay?
So Caleb, my only complaint about your soup is that you couldn't quite taste the effort in the flavor profile.
If Kelsey was telling me about what you did for that white chicken chili, and it did sound like it was not your best work.
It was really low effort.
It was not. You seem to have missed a lot of components of a white chicken chili.
Most of them. There was chicken and there were white beans, and that's about it.
Yeah, so it was.
But what about the chili?
Oh,
there were no chilies in it.
Was it served chili?
It was more chillo, you know. It was just not much. There wasn't any heat to it.
Wow. Unbelievable stuff, guys.
Just riveting.
Actually, I've been having a blast. This is great because I think this is just a prime example of we just are riding this train wherever rails it goes.
Anytime the Ben's not here, we can just keep going, and he doesn't stop us.
Yeah, that's the thing. Ben is the ultimate of like, guys.
What are we talking about?
Can we make Ben the new topic? Can we just pick apart Ben slowly? So what's with the haircut? You know, always short black hair. Come on, switch it up. Grow it out long. Do a buzz cut. Do something different, Ben.
Whoa, well, we saw the power of bald Ben.
Never mind. No, we don't want that.
I don't know if we want to revert back to bald Ben. Trevor, were you around in the era of bald Ben?
I think that was North Schaefer. I think that was the year after Trevor moved from Athens.
Do you mean he like it was like fully shaved, like no hair at all?
It was, but it was like an eighth of an inch.
Pretty short.
He looked like a Make-A-Wish candidate, Trevor.
He looked like Lex Luthor with a little like 5 o'clock shadow, but around his head.
But like the Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, not good. Not a good look.
So, Bald Ben ushered in a new era of confidence, a new era of savagery we've never seen.
I don't really recall that.
That's what I recall.
Did he get meaner? Was it because the baldness? Was it closer to Larry David than he already was?
I think so. I think it was a closer to Larry David esque moment. But he's been rocking the mustache for. I can't believe Hannah puts up with that mustache for as long as she has. Maybe she doesn't get a choice because Ben's been rocking that lip warmer for a long time.
Little lip warmer.
It's not quite a fuzzy caterpillar up there yet, but
no. It's more like somebody spilled some pepper from his nostrils.
God, it's a work of art though, man. Ben no shame. He's a man with confidence behind that upper lip. I tell you,
it's kind of like somebody who can just walk around all day with plenty of rice and chicken and broccoli in their beard, and then ketchup stains all over their shirt. It's kind of like the same thing, you know.
That's oddly specific, Caleb. I don't know what you're talking about.
Have I ever told you how much I hate you?
Whoa. Hey, I never said that.
How important are your keys to you, Caleb? Let's just revisit this.
They're fairly important. Maybe I should be nicer.
I think you should be nicer. You're going to cost me like $20 tomorrow at the post office.
Oh, no. Hold on.
To overnight something? That's going to be so expensive.
It's so close, though. I feel like it'll be like $10, $12.
No, I overnighted something to Amanda. She was about 3 hours away, and it was like $26.
Yeah,
maybe you should do a 2-day priority.
Well, do you need? I mean, are you sure you're not going to need your? I feel like it's your car.
Yeah, but I think the priority mail.
Because if I throw it in a flat rate box, it's going to get there in like 2-3 days, and it's going to be like $8.
Yeah, we'll probably do that.
We'll figure it out. We probably shouldn't discuss this.
No, people love to hear logistical things. It's a podcast of logistics.
That's what's today.
Podcast.
Logistics. There we go. There's your episode title, Trevor. The logistical episode.
I like to think of this podcast as somewhere between the British version of The Office and like watching paint dry. Like somewhere between those, you know?
And we got, Trevor, the stream today looked. Did you make that intermission graphic?
Oh, no, that's just like a looping thing I downloaded from somewhere.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I was like, damn, Trevor, that was really cool. That was really cool.
I mean, yeah, I definitely made that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
You're not just stealing someone's work, though.
Nah.
Just out from under him. Is that...
Everything that I use for the chat pack is royalty-free and or made by myself.
Okay, speaking of things being made, when's the surprise, man?
When are we getting a jingle?
Yeah, jingle.
I'll get it done this weekend.
We're on week 3 of Jingle Watch here.
I know. I'm on crunch time with the EP though.
Can you give us just like a preview, like what the jingle might sound like?
I don't think. No, it's too short.
Yeah, I can't really say anything without giving it away.
Will there be vocals involved?
Yeah, technically.
When you say
technically, Oz, or is there going to be lyrics?
There won't be any lyrics.
You want me to audition right now?
Paul, I can guarantee that you can get denied.
Chat pack. We chatting, we're chatting, chatting, chat pack, chatting, scat man, chat pack.
Wait, I thought we were the pod chat cast. No.
Paul, if anybody's
Chat
the
pod.
scat man,
Pod.
you're definitely the scat man.
Chat
pod, according to Kelsey. Oh, and Trevor, in case you're wondering, I asked Ava if because Caleb, we talked with Ben about significant others watching or listening to the show.
Ben gave Kelsey a lecture about it.
Yeah, and that was what he wanted to vent about last week, actually.
The pod chat vent cast.
But Ava does not listen to the show for literally the exact reason I described on the show last week, as in she hangs out with us, she's in a group chat with us, she gets her fill of us. And she said that, and I literally just started cracking up because I was like, I verbatim said that on the podcast last week why you don't watch why you wouldn't watch the show. It's because it's like the last thing she wants to do is listen to us on her free time.
She doesn't want to listen to us talk logistics about free priority mailing, huh?
No, not at all. She would hate this because she's just like, because she's, how many of those have Kelsey, Amanda, Hannah, and Ava all lived through? Because like the thing
Not
is
enough.
like
They
when
can
we're all together, the significant other may be there, but like, let's be honest, like they are on, as much as they're our friends, like they also get caught up in the madness that is all of us hanging out together.
Yeah, but I will say that I think Ava and Amanda have it a little bit better than Kelsey and Hannah, because when you're a part of like the friend group, like Ava and Amanda are. They can kind of interact and understand the constant memes and ridiculous inside jokes that happen within our friend group. But then I think Kelsey and Hannah are just like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, like when we were all hanging out, we had a lot of the crew together, you know, minus Trevor and Amanda and Ava, I believe.
Buy a plane ticket for once in your goddamn life and come hang out with everyone.
Yeah, Trevor, buy a plane ticket. Quit your job.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'll do it. I'll do it right now.
Sold. We got them.
Oh, that was
I'm gonna book it. I'm booking it. I am. It's booked. We're booked. I'm flying.
You know, speaking of where you live, Trevor, I've been meaning to ask this for a while. Do you think you'll be in Utah, specifically Salt Lake City, for a little bit longer? You've been here. I know it was always meant to be kind of like a quick 2-year stop while Amanda went to grad school, but guys.
Then Trevor probably got his dream job.
Trevor got a dope job. Amanda really likes her job. You guys got dogs. You live in a house now. What's happening? Give us a scoop.
No, I mean, for the foreseeable future, like, we are probably going to be here. We've talked a little bit about, like, where we would want to go next, but the problem is, like we sit down and we think about, like, what is it that we like about Salt Lake, and it's like, well, you know, we're 20 minutes from amazing hiking, we're 40 minutes from amazing desert,
there's a great Mormon population.
Yeah, there's a great Mormon population. All the soda and fry sauce. No, but like to be honest though, it's like there's, you know, world-class snowboarding. There's you know, desert
amazing
mountains,
climbing.
like amazing climbing. Like we're kind of centrally located. We can go down to like Vegas or over to Denver or like out to the West Coast, and like the cost of living is super low right now for like a major city.
Really?
Well, compared to like,
That's
you know,
really
Denver or Portland or Seattle.
So high.
So yeah,
like that's pretty cool.
And then there's an international, an international airport here. So it's like,
well, you're also so close. I mean, for international flights, Denver is a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
If you don't get good flights out of Salt Lake.
And I partially am asking because I know Kelsey is going to be finishing up her PhD here in like just about 2 years, a little bit under that, and then we'll be looking at a place, and depending on where the band's at and where I'm at professionally, we would be looking at places such as Utah. I think Arizona State was one of them. Washington. The most recent one, she found a really cool postdoc in Sydney, Australia.
Dude,
that'd be pretty cool, but it's also like, you know, it's pretty far considering that.
Could Kelsey go that far away from her family? And I don't mean that in a rude way.
I don't know.
For that long, because I know she could go for an extended trip, but in terms of like
2 years
living that far away, because she's pretty close to.
Well, and the other thing, I don't think that, like, I'm not willing to put my dog on a plane. Just not gonna happen. Like, I don't trust. No, and I just don't trust airlines there's just so many horror stories with having animals in the cargo hold and they get too hot and die, or there's some kind of suffocation problem, and I wouldn't take that risk. So if we were to go somewhere like that, we've already had kind of the small conversation, or the beginnings of it, that my parents would take our youngest dog, Willie, and then, I mean, we're trying to be realistic, but Bella, her dog, is 12 years old, so, you know, 2-3 years, if she's still kicking, we'll see, but I don't know if any of us really count on it. Not trying to be morbid, but
man,
it's realistic.
It's very, you got to be realistic. She's awesome, but she's slowed down quite a bit.
And don't get too down on it, radio or podcast listeners. She is got a great bill of health for an old dog. The last I heard,
she's spry.
Yeah, she's just got the old dog stuff, but she's still hilarious.
Yeah, I think that the body grease really holds in the age.
It's the secret to the youth, man. That's the fountain of youth. It's not a drink, a chalice. It's grease.
Just rolling oil, any kind of fats that you can find.
For those that are listening, Bella the dog is like, imagine like Dobby from Harry Potter, and then Yoda from Star Wars, and then like also a dog.
Imagine like a cow skin that you filled halfway up with water, and it just plops around.
Her 2 ears are always in different directions now after the ear surgery.
Or better yet, just Google Porkshire. just Google Porkshire, and that's all you need. Just look at, there's a bunch of pictures. They're all different things. They're not the actual Porkshire statue, but if you just find any picture that is labeled Porkshire, that's what Bella looks like.
There's no way that Vinny... Porkshire still exists, right? Like, there's no way Vinny
Last time I went to see our friend Vincent Romeo up in Youngstown, I went into his office, and there sat Porkshire looking over the room from the corner.
Porkshire. The creepiest but coolest statue.
For those of you who don't know, Porkshire is a very creepy yet very classy statue that we found at a thrift store for I think $2, and then found out that it's a collectible that could be sold for close to $300.
Yeah, but Porkshire's too great, man.
And Vinny wouldn't sell that thing if somebody gave him $4,000 for it. Dude. I'm convinced. He loves Porkshire more than I think I love my animals, which is a lot.
Porkshire is great, but
Porkshire's eternal.
That's amazing.
He's terrifying. Oh, but no, that's it. That makes sense for you to want to stay in Utah. I gotta figure out not right now. I gotta take advantage of where I'm at now, but I don't know. I gotta get more stable. But
we've been talking about.
Here's what's gonna happen, Trevor. Okay, let me tell you what's gonna happen.
Paul, you vented a lot. How about we let Trevor go ahead for a little while?
Trevor, go for it.
So
we put him on the spot.
Probably gonna stay in Utah for the foreseeable future, just because it's pretty awesome. Like, we really like it here, and like you said, we have a
what
dope house.
Actually, when will they get real alcohol though?
So they did just pass a law that increased the alcohol percentage of beer they can sell in stores.
Stores like bars or stores like convenience stores?
Well, so the way the alcohol works here, you can buy. Well, it used to be you could buy 3.2% beer at your Kroger, your Smiths, your Walmart, places that sell grocery stores that sell beer and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you could get 3.2% beer there, but then in order to get full strength beer, which is just regular beer, you have to go to the state liquor store, store where they have wine and spirits and things, and then they have full strength beer there. But they just, because a lot of brewing companies are getting rid of those 3.2% batches, because I think the only places that have it still is Utah and I think Kansas or some weird random state over in the Bible Belt or something. But
Colorado used to have a lot of 3.2 beer, but they just I think a year ago passed that legislation to allow full strength in grocery stores. Pretty big deal, actually. I remember a lot of people were talking about it.
Yeah, I was surprised to learn that happened so soon, because it feels super archaic here in Utah, but Colorado was not that far behind.
Well, but the thing is, it's there is a liquor store next to every grocery store, basically. So it was you had to go to the other store. Wasn't that
inconvenient?
Yeah, you had to go to the other store, but it's in the same shopping center, so you just go over, and it was a lot of ways for small business. It was just a lot of ways for people to make a business and just be the liquor store. So a lot of people were saying you're just taking away from mom and pop and just allowing Kroger to again be the conglomerate.
Yeah, but then there's places then there's stuff like Virginia, where I think that all of the places that you buy booze in Virginia, all of the liquor stores are state operated. It's okay, that's not really mom and pop now, is it?
Right.
Well, and that's part of why they're changing the law here is because a lot of your big, your Budweiser, your Miller Coors, the big companies are going to stop carrying 3.2%. That means that in Utah, every convenience store and gas station and any little mom and pop place that sells that 3.2% beer, they won't be able to get that beer anymore, and they won't be able to make that money. So that's why they're kind of changing the law around, so that way those people will be able to still sell beer that's a higher percentage.
Yeah, it makes sense. I couldn't imagine a 3.2 beer was. It's just kind of just like one of those things where it's like, I guess it's like a nice that it's available, but in reality, like, how many people really pull the trigger on that? You know,
on 3.2% beer.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like I would much rather just make the drive to a liquor store.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how many people are really going to be like, you know, I'm going to shell out the money to buy this weaker beer when I can just add 20 minutes to my trip and go get full strength.
So,
you know,
the thing is, like, when I figured out that you could go to the liquor store and get full strength beer, I was like, well, I'm never going to buy beer again from like a grocery store or whatever, like you're saying. But the problem in Utah is that, like, for example, I live in downtown Salt Lake, and for downtown Salt Lake, there is one liquor store, and it's like in this kind of like hard to get to plaza that's like between two one-way streets in like the middle of downtown, and it is like a 1,000 square foot like tiny little building with like 4 parking spots out in front of it, and it's only open like, I think it's open like 10 to 8 most days, and then it's closed on Sundays and maybe Mondays. And so it's like, if you want alcohol, it's the most miserable thing to try to go to that store. And so I only go there if I'm buying like liquor or something, because I'll just deal with the low percentage beer from the grocery store, because it takes me 2 seconds to go to the grocery store and buy a 6-pack.
Yeah, I get that.
And it sucks,
and also, like,
because the 6-pack
if you toss a beer to some
Sorry.
little kid or something like that, then you don't feel too bad, you know?
Because it's only 3.2%.
Yeah, it's not gonna fuck them up. Like, they'll just maybe ride their bike in a curvy line.
Do not advocate for supplying minors with alcoholic beverages.
We don't advocate for supplying alcohol to minors.
But we do drink alcohol.
Like so much of it.
Yeah, that's true.
So much.
I need to go get another beer, actually, but we're getting close to the end of this, so I'll just wait. But
I'm sure anybody who's made it this far is thanking their lucky stars for that.
They're reconsidering their lives.
Anybody, Trevor, you said you're playing that cool Spider-Man VR game. I haven't dove deep into it, but there is a Gears of War 5 beta this weekend, so you guys know what I'm doing this weekend. You know what I'm playing this weekend.
Does that beta include PC?
I don't think so. I'm not sure though.
Yeah,
Trevor.
Boo.
Yeah, I'm really getting into.
You playing Age of Empires 2? Because I put it on your computer.
I'm playing Apex Legumes.
Gotta love that Apex Legumes, dude. Way too hard on the computer.
What?
Yeah, I need that controller, dude. That was so hard.
Oh,
having to hit the other buttons to like sprint and all that stuff. I don't know how.
It takes some adjustment, but it's really, like, I gotta say, playing first-person shooters on a keyboard and a mouse, so much better than on a controller.
So I'm curious to know your guys' feelings on this. I think Apex is awesome, and the gameplay, honestly was just refreshing. It's like, it's so smooth, it's so fluid, it's so fast.
Capabilities.
And I would love if they added in like the ability to do like team death matches or something, like something other than the Royale mode.
Trevor, let me tell you about this. There's this little video game series. It's called Titanfall. Okay,
you were gonna go there.
Titanfall, it's literally the same exact game, except take out the hero elements. But in terms of how the gameplay works, you also get a giant robot. Because I'm telling you, dude, like if you're looking for a more traditional shooter-based game that plays like Apex, it's made by the same people. Like they just took Titanfall and just made it a hero class based. Obviously they did more than that, but in terms of the core movement of that game, it's Titanfall like through and through, without wall running. So
let me rephrase. I would love it if they made a game with the gameplay and player base of Apex Legends, but it had team deathmatch.
I heard Titanfall 2 does decently well still. It was super cheap, and I still might pick it up one day. Get back into Titanfall. I never played 2, but Titanfall 1 was dope. We just played it so much, and then once we were done. You know, we just played because it came out when I was we were playing in a freshman year of college, so it was just like we were playing a ton of it. Everyone was playing in my dorm room because it was sick. You know, you're running around, shooting computers, shooting people, jumping on giant robots, doing all that stuff. It's dope. And then there was no story, no nothing. You just like, all right, I've done this. I've played this.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about Titanfall, but I've never given it a shot.
The story mode in 2 is supposed to be great too, so I'm intrigued by it. But anything on your guys' video game horizons? I know Caleb probably doesn't have a single clue what's coming out soon.
No, but I will say that one thing that I really want to get more into, Paul, you're going to have to help me out with the name of it, but it's a space-based game that I played over at your house. Oh, I remember. It's called Outer Wilds. Oh my gosh, Trevor, you would love this game. So it's called Outer Wilds, and like you start off and you're PC. It's kind of like one of those games where you start off and you're like being woken up from a dream and you don't really have much of a recollection of what's happening. But you start off at this campfire and there's these weird kind of alien looking things, like these guys that you see throughout the game. And I haven't made it very far, but you basically have just gotten your license to fly your spaceship. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. And like your objective is to find out more about this ancient race of people that had lived on the planet that you're living on and the planets around it, and it's supposed to be way into the future, but it's like this really cool mix of like futuristic stuff but also old folk Appalachian peoples. It's really odd, but it's really refreshing, and so much of it is based in music. So all of the runes that these old peoples had left behind were music symbols, and like you read it with an analyzer, and as you read it there's music, and not just the music in the game as you're traveling around is so cool. It's just a game that I've never really seen the like of it before. It's a very cool spin on what No Man's Sky should have been.
That's what I was going to say, is it kind of reminds me of No Man's Sky to hear you talk about it, but it sounds like it
the
actually was off to a good start.
Cool. Oh, it's like a good blend of cartoony, but then also very pretty, vibrant, very saturated colors.
And good news for both of you, it's available on the Microsoft Store.
Ooh.
It's not. Microsoft, wait, is that a Microsoft
Xbox
Studio
One?
Game?
Yeah, I believe. Well, I don't think it's an independent, but I think they had a little bit of a deal with Microsoft or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, and Macintosh operating systems, you can play that game. So, Caleb, there you go.
Weird.
Man. You can pick that back up. Because it's an indie game, too, so it's probably going to be like at most $25. Actually, I got the thing up. I can tell you how much it is right now.
It's worth it. It was so good. Oh, my gosh. It's just a really immersive game. And like there's one, I won't give away too much, but there's the first planet that I traveled to outside of the home planet. It's a water planet, but it's surrounded by a really thick atmosphere of storm. So you're flying towards it, and then you burst through that atmosphere of storm and you just see the ocean, and then you like inevitably the first time you go to it, you just crash right into the ocean. But it's just so pretty, and like it's just a really well detail oriented game too. Like when you go to land your spaceship, you can switch into landing mode where it's you kind of land it like the Millennium Falcon would land, right?
Yeah.
So, but then you can get a camera that looks straight below you, so that way you don't have to like land in this kind of blind mode. You can see what's on the ground, and it gives you a leveler, so you know if you're landing a bit sideways or off. If you're tilted.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's seriously so cool, and that leveled camera is all in black and white and has a light beneath you, so it looks like a backup camera in a car. Like it's just awesome. So well done. I'm telling you, that is like Trevor. That is you in a nutshell. That game.
$25 on the Epic Games Store is where you can find that on the PC marketplace.
It's on the Epic Games Store.
That's rough.
Boo.
That is a bummer.
Yeah,
so that's made by the same people who made
PC players. Get used to it. You're gonna have to put the Epic Games Store on your PC if you're gonna want to play some games.
They made Fortnite and they made Gears, right?
They have made Fortnite, Gears, Unreal Tournament, and something else that I can't.
That's a good studio. Like, I'm not super into Fortnite anymore, but obviously doing quite well.
Very well. And Epic actually no longer. The last Gears they worked on was 3. The Coalition now does Gears over there. And speaking of that, I cannot wait to sing. The mode I played of Gears, I was not super into. But I think it was like a quick play arcade mode, not actually like get into the nitty gritty. Because I like spawned with a different gun. I had to get certain kills to upgrade or like unlock the other guns. It's like I'm glad that a game mode like that exists, but it's like, no, I'm playing Gears. Give me my team. Give me my Lancer. Give me my Nasher, and let me just go play Gears. That's what I'm excited to get into. But
dude, so speaking of Gears, that reminded me. A friend of mine at work and we were talking about. Well, so you mentioned that I was playing VR, and we were talking about like some of the cooler VR games that are out there. And what is that game called? There's an Oculus exclusive game that is called Robo Recall, I believe. And the premise is that there's all these robots that are like, you know, it's essentially waves of robots running at you and you have to kill them and stuff. And the game is rad. Like, you can throw when your guns run out of bullets, you can throw your gun and hit the robot with it. And if you catch it on the rebound, you get like an infinite clip for like 20 seconds and like just all this like dope stuff. But I was talking with my coworker and we were like, how has someone not made like a VR version of like horde mode or like firefight where it's based on the boundaries of your room, because like you establish your boundaries when you set up the VR system. So it'd be based on the boundaries of your room, and then you would just set down like turrets and build barricades and things, and then you would just fight like wave after wave. Like, it would be so dope.
There's gotta be. Like, I bet you if you look a little bit, there's gotta be. That seems like a no-brainer.
Because like the main issue with VR right now is that the movement is like movement is difficult, because if you're not moving yourself and like the game is sort of like moving you along, it gets kind of nauseous. So a lot of games do like a teleport mode, but teleport mode's really bad for like shooters because you want to be able to run and aim. And so how have we not had a dope like wave after wave shooter game for VR? It'd be so tight.
Yeah, I can't. If the fact that doesn't exist is kind of crazy to me.
We could make millions.
There we go.
Just make it real quick.
You know how else we can make millions? By getting all you lovely people to subscribe to the Chat Pack Podcast and to follow us on all of the social medias, because this has been the Chat Pack Podcast. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely. When this airs Monday evening, but for us, we're going to get back to our Friday evenings. And stay cool out there, everyone. It's hot everywhere.
Oh, it's so hot.
Brutal right now. It sucks, man. Sucks.
Ridiculous.
Work sucked today. Awful. Caleb, I'm glad your AC works again, man. That's a big bonus
works
for
so
you.
Well, too. Holy cow.
Your house is so cold. It's great.
So cold.
But anyway, thank you all for listening to the Chat Pack Podcast. Follow along with us online and keep it tuned right here to the Chat Pack Podcast for all the updates from the Chat Pack boys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.